kind of given up on this, but can we salvage anything from this mess? We're living this strange divided life. So the kids and I are trekking up back to the house. We're gonna make breakfast. We slept in the camper. We don't have the whole kitchen moved down yet. We're just chipping away every day, making progress. Funny thing is, Bree didn't make it down to the camper last night because she was working on a project up here and she probably just fell asleep while she was doing it. As soon as I come out here, Alice is gonna start bawling at me because she wants to be fed. So here we are out at the pasture. I think we kind of left you hanging on a couple things in that last video. Not so much purposefully, but both Bree and I were filming, and it's always a challenge to kind of hold a storyline together. Here is the dun bull. I think that's what I'm gonna call him. He's the bull we bought the other day, and he's a dun Dexter. Dun is his color, Dexter is his breed. And he's a fine fellow as far as I'm concerned. I'm so impressed with this breed overall. This guy and his current body condition, and you can just look at him and tell he's a muscle man. He's built, and his condition is excellent. His body's really full. He's very muscular. This body condition is the result of eating kind of a stubby pasture and hay. He did not eat any grain, and he's a solid animal. We're crossing him with Alice, our Jersey cow, and Jerseys tend to have issues with keeping weight, especially when they're in milk. And Alice has done pretty well. She gets her alfalfa every day, but I'm excited to cross him with Alice because whatever offspring we get from the dun bull and Alice is going to be a solid little animal, whether it's a steer we raise for meat or whether it's a little heifer that we raise for ourselves or to sell as a family milk cow. It's going to be a solid animal. Guys, we've done this before. We've raised a steer for meat. We know how much it costs to process and how much the meat is worth to us. Oh, you want that apple? There's an apple right here. You can have that apple. Here you go. The one thing we don't know in this situation is exactly how much he weighs. He's definitely bigger than Brownie, who we butchered and put in the freezer earlier this year. But we're pretty confident we're going to come out really well on him. So the plan is to actually butcher him after we know that Alice is pregnant, which is kind of sad because he's such a cool animal. It's a funny thing to do, but everything came together. Someone was liquidating their herd, and he was available. We need to fill our freezer up, and so this is what we're doing. And I think it'll turn out well for us. He's just such a solid animal. When you look at his feet, his front feet are way bigger than Alice's. Just a solid animal. I'm impressed by the Dexter. I put the ducks and the geese in the garden. I've pretty much given up on the garden. There's some stuff that we'll still be able to pull out of here. I still plan on harvesting these sweet potatoes. Probably our best squash harvest is still up here. And it's these, there's some butternut, but it's mostly the spaghetti squash. And they're just littering the ground up here. Spaghetti squash, and then there's butternut mixed in all along. We still have potatoes to harvest. And I think we'll pull quite a few out. I pretty much totally gave up on this winter garden. It's frustrating because I put a lot of work into it. And I don't really know what went wrong. I think that during this dry spell and when we were in California, or maybe before we were in California, because my mom watered the garden while we were in California, I think I didn't water consistently enough. I had a terrible germination rate. I don't think it was the seeds. They were mostly from Baker Creek, and their seeds are good. But putting the geese and ducks in here is giving up because they basically have eaten what the few things that were here. I'll show you right here. There's just a few things came up. Pretty sure that was arugula, turnips, and beets, and they've trampled them and eaten them, and I knew that was going to happen. Why did I do this? Because we were having so much of a challenge containing our animals, and I had to get them out of the yard. I made a video maybe a week ago where I was putting the ducks in a portable electric net fence and the chickens, and I haven't been able to effectively contain them in those fences. The ducks seem somewhat immune to shock. I don't know if it's how thick their feathers are, but they go under the fence and they get out. And the duck poop and the goose poop is the nastiest poop. It's so wet. And so we're moving in the process. You know, we're straddling between the house and the camper right now. And we had to get these animals out of the yard. And so they're in the garden. This is a huge area for them. To give them plenty to eat and keep them from making their area too nasty. So I basically said the garden's a failure. I'm failing at containing the animals from the yard to keep my kids from getting sick with animal poop in the yard. So I had to put them up here. So that's what we did. It's kind of a pragmatic decision. But the winter garden is gone. That's it. It's over. There's about a dozen chickens that are out. And these are the chronic escapees. These are professional escape artists. All the ones that are out now, because they were all put in yesterday and put in the day before. These are the ones that get out. I don't know what to do with them, honestly. I have some ideas, but it's a daily thing. Like, put them in, see which ones escape. Every single one that's out, though, is one that has escaped after being put in. I kind of admire them. I kind of hate them because they're making things challenging and they're still pooping out here. So today we'll feed them in this morning. That's what we do. And then they're in for about half the day and then they figure out how to get out. Their wings are clipped. They have food and water in their cage down here and in the fence up there, depending on where we put them. So it's just an ongoing challenge. I'm coming through. Come on up here and you can have this. They say never turn your back on a bull. I'm keeping my eye on this guy. He's got a really good safety record, but still, I don't trust him a bit. And it's not just because I don't know him. It's like he never hurt anyone over there. He's always been well behaved, but you just don't know. You just never know what he'll do. And he's so muscular and so strong. I'm creeping this hay up the pasture. Our pasture just beat down. And so I'm feeding hay up, and you can see where they've left some down there and they've left some right here. So I'm trying to actually coat this whole pasture with a thin coating of leftover hay behind these cows. And I think it'll take me a month more probably. So the whole pasture has this coating of hay to help reseed it and help cover some of these just eaten down spots like this. Hopefully help it recover next spring better by doing that. This squash plant has grown out here. I don't even know what kind of squash that is, but it's grown in the pasture here the past couple years. I'm gonna feed it to the pigs. Here you go, piggies. Enjoy that. I feel like I'm kind of frozen on this project and not making enough progress. Yesterday though, I was thinking, you know, if we get this right down here, if we get this camper set up where we can live in it as we tear our house out, kill all the mold, put our house back together, if we get this right, I think it's going to enable us to succeed. So I'm trying to be patient with this process and say, this setup needs to be right because, you know, we may be in here a year getting our house done. If I mess this up and don't get this right, it's gonna be a constant disaster and I won't be able to be productive at all. So the pieces are slowly coming together down here. The kitchen is really small, so we're actually putting a grill out here where on the warmer days we can do some cooking outside and we can eat out on this picnic table. And we're just piece by piece putting stuff together. The furnace I've tested. I'm still working on the hot water heater, getting it up and running. I don't know what's wrong with it, but try to figure that out today. So right now I'm caught between being impatient and realizing that if I'm making progress every day on this, that we're actually doing the right thing. And then once we're 100% moved in down here, we can actually live with some level of comfort, and comfort equals productivity. And we're out of the house about half the time right now because we're sleeping down here. We're spending some of our morning evenings down here, but we're still cooking in the house, and we haven't moved the kitchen down and everything. So that's next once everything is running in the camper. Guys, all this was made possible through a bunch of you all, our viewers' generosity through a GoFundMe. And I just want to tell you, like, we haven't forgotten about that. Our minds are still blown at you all's generosity. And that's what has enabled us to move forward. Once we're set up here, then we'll move on to this project, the house that Love built. Isn't that cool? Yep. That's what's next. So we'll see you soon. There's a little update for you. Bye. Oh, I totally forgot to say this. This is one of the big reasons why I pulled the camera out this morning. So, it turns out Alice, our cow, was not in heat. We thought she was in heat. We were questioning, okay, is he gonna breed her? Right when we brought him out into the pasture the other day, we were saying, all right, is this gonna happen? It looked like it might. He was super interested in her, but I think she was just in heat because she'd been bellowing so much the previous days. He has not bred her, so we're watching closely. I think we missed it just by days, or a couple days. Anyway, that's that.